Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mr. Scherber, and I am the proud principal of these musicians here. And we've got our 7th graders and our 8th graders there. What a beautiful night to be inside for accumulating orchestra concert. We're excited you're here. All the busyness going on, we're excited you came here. These end-of-the-year concerts are indeed my favorite, especially the ones that have 6th, 7th, and 8th graders here. You get a chance to see that progression throughout the year. And the 6th graders behind me, if you remember, many of them couldn't read music in the fall. And a lot of hard work that was gone into a performance during the year, in particular today. So we're going to start with our 6th graders. Then we'll transition to our 7th grade group, who are very excited. As I visited with them, they're excited not only about their music, but they've learned a lot about it. And if I asked any of them, they could share a little bit about each song, the background, and the composer. That's a reflection of your orchestra director, that they get that in depth about their music, and a group of 7th graders can share that. We'll then transition to our 8th graders, who will show you what 3 years of hard work and passion and talent can do. We'll end with that. And then I know there's a lot of excitement for the very last piece, where the stage will be full. And that last final piece is what we're most excited about, to work together in that regard. Again, thank you for coming tonight. We'll have those 3 transitions. If you would, please, just make sure you turn the ringer off on your phone. You can have the phone out, you can take pictures, and you can take video, but let's just turn the ringer off so we can sit back and enjoy tonight's concert. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade orchestra director, Miss Michelle Shetler-Stein.
Welcome. Before we start our 6th grade portion of the concert, we have a student announcer that's going to share just a few more reminders.
Welcome to our concert. We are so glad you came to join us during this busy season. As performers, we have a few requests for you, which will allow us to perform our very best. Please refrain from talking during the performance. If you need to carry on a conversation, there is space available for you to do so in the lobby or in the hallway. Young children develop audience habits early. Please help them understand to follow the guidelines for good concert behavior. This may mean removing them to the lobby if they need to run around or make noise. Please do not walk in front of the audience with your camera or video camera to take a picture of your child once the concert has started, or stand up from your seat in the audience during a piece. This blocks the view of other parents and disturbs the musicians. Please double check and turn off your cell phones and any other devices which may beep or make noise, even if you are pretty sure you've already silenced them. Thank you so much. Making music is hard work. We appreciate your respect for the effort we have put into learning this music over the last several months. Enjoy the show.
The 6th graders will be starting with a piece by Shinichi Suzuki. They got to learn a whole bunch of new techniques for this piece. They learned Italian even. They learned about fermatas, da capo al fine. They learned about staccato e allure bowing. And they even learned that the title of the piece has a meaning. The title of the piece is Allegro, which translates to happy or lively. Our next piece is by Dale Brubaker. You're going to hear a melody being passed between the different sections. You're going to hear it start off in the viola section, passed over to our bass clef instruments, including the cello and the bass, and then finally to our violin section. For this piece, the students got to learn about melodies and harmony, balance, and even doing different endings. Here is Rocket March. Our next piece is by Paul Lavender. For this one, you're going to see the students starting to do some more independent playing. By that, I mean you're going to notice that certain sections are playing while others are resting. You're going to notice that they have different rhythms and notes that they're playing as well, and you're going to see them showing off their fancy bow lifts as well. We hope you enjoy Majestic March. They've come a long way since September, haven't they? I am so proud from most of these students coming into the classroom and not knowing how to take their instrument out of the case to this. Our final piece is another wow piece. This is arranged by Kenneth Henderson. Yes, Kenneth Henderson and Albert Stoudemeyer. This one is called Cinnamon. You are going to notice more independence in the parts. You're going to hear different textures of the plucking of the strings and bowing of the strings and competitive rhythms as well. We are going to conclude our 6th grade portion with Cinnamon. Next, we have our 7th grade orchestra. We are going to be starting with a piece from Orpheus in the Underworld, arranged by Richard Meyer. This is by Jacques Offenbach, and you'll probably recognize this one. It is called Can Can. Next up, we have a piece that was from the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer musical production of The Wizard of Oz, arranged by Brab Cerulli. Here is Over the Rainbow. We're going to take up the tempo with our next piece by Tom Sharp. Here is Fiddle Faddle Hoedown. The dragon is a legendary beast in the folklore of many European and Asian cultures. These creatures are traditionally portrayed as ferocious, fire-breathing beasts that represent the evils fought by human beings. According to medieval legends, dragons lived in wild, remote regions of the world and guarded great treasures from their dens. Right now, these 7th graders are going to take notes on a page and play a story for you. Here is Dragon Slayer. Up next, we have our 8th grade orchestra. They will be starting with a piece from Walt Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. This is the main theme, Pirates of the Caribbean, arranged by Larry Moore. Our next piece is by Deborah Baker Monday, and this is called Bow Hunters. This next piece is a technical learning piece and really fun to play. For this piece, the 8th graders got to learn new techniques called shifting, where they have to get outside of their comfort zone. They can no longer just stay in one position with their fingers. You're going to see them creep up and down the neck of their instrument to explore higher notes, new notes, and it was tricky, really, really tricky to start with, and I am so proud of the learning that went on with this piece, in addition to the musical story that they're telling. Here is Night Shift by Richard Meyer. The 8th grade's last piece is by Katie O'Hara Labrie, and this is called I Spy. Typically, this would be the last performance that the 8th graders would do for the school year. I just want to give a quick nod to Mr. Scherber. They get to perform again on Friday. We're going to do our very first ever orchestra field trip, and these students are going to perform at Valley Fair. And I'm very, very excited for them to have one last chance to play together as 8th graders. Our next transition is going to be the big one. 7th graders are going to stay put. 8th graders, when I say go, are going to go to your other spots. 6th graders are over here, just kidding. 6th graders are gonna come up to their spots, and then we'll call up 7th graders when we're ready for you. We'll be back with you shortly. That's a lot of students up there, huh? Really cool. We are going to test their ability to be statues right now. And I have some thank yous. I have lots of thank yous that I need to do really quick here. Big thank you to our administration. Mr. Scherber, thank you for being here tonight. I think Mr. Olson was going to try to make it too. I can't see him, but yes, perfect. Hi, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing your support. Big thank you to our administrative assistants as well, as they help tie all the pieces and parts together. Monticello Middle School was awarded a grant from the Minnesota Arts Board to hire temporary part-time instrumental music master class instructors. This activity is made possible by the voters of Minnesota through a grant from the Minnesota State Arts Board, thanks to a legislative appropriation from the Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Our orchestra teaching artists, Will Samaray and Ida Byman, have been providing master classes to all middle school students enrolled in orchestra, giving instrument-specific instruction in sectional platforms during the students' orchestra classes. We are extremely grateful to have these specialists here to help share their tips and tricks with the students. A big thank you to our custodial staff here at the high school and at the middle school, just for helping make things run smoothly. Big thank you to our tech in the booth tonight, live streaming. We appreciate the support from our technology department to help bring this concert to people that are not able to be here in person. So thank you for that. Big thank you to our volunteers. Big thank you to parents who helped behind the scenes before our concert tonight. I have some alumni on stage. They heard that we were doing String Explosion and they wanted to play along as well. And a big thank you to Rachel Vanette for help with your tuning tonight. She is my coworker for our summer orchestra. I want to do a little quick commercial. If you want your musician on stage to keep playing over the summer, you can scan the QR code in your program, and that will take you to some information on how to get them signed up for that. Big thank you to musical faculty for all of their support. They are a great team. We even hang out outside of work. They're that awesome. Big thank you to parents. You may have noticed that we are celebrating our 25th year anniversary of this orchestra program. Yeah. 25 years of growth doesn't happen in a program without community support. You are my people. Thank you. Thank you for supporting these wonderful musicians on stage. Thank you for being here tonight and showing that support. And finally, a thank you to the students on stage. Yes. You are awesome. You are so awesome. And I love that you get an opportunity to show our community how awesome middle schoolers can be. I know some people say, oh, middle school, you must be a saint or crazy. No, they're great. They really are. Promise. So a big thank you again for being here tonight, and we are going to conclude with String Explosion. Our final transition of the evening. Students are going to hang tight until I'm done with directions, and then when I say go, you'll go. Audience members, I am going to send them to go pack up their instruments safely. If you are willing and able, we would greatly appreciate any help that you might be able to provide. 14 music